welcome back to Cat's Book Corner. We talk about all things book and bookish. Today I'm going to share my 5 stars that I've had over the past year and a couple weeks. There's only 8 of them, and there are only 3 that I haven't talked about in detail on this channel before, but I just wanted to give an overview of all of them. The first 8 are ones that you can go back on my channel and find my spoiler and reviews on them. So I'll just talk a little bit about them. There won't be that much spoiler about them. But the last 3, I'll give an overview of them, and then I'll go a little bit into spoilers so you can see how much I love those books. But first I wanted to do a little check-in with my TBR. I've only read 2, well, not really 2 books yet. I've read Lightlark, not my favorite, but it was alright. And then I'm like around chapter 10 in the first book of the Zodiac Academy. I'm not sure how I feel yet, but because of how long this series is, I'm willing to give it a chance. Alright, let's get into it. Starting with Court of Thorns and Roses. This is, I think, 2 videos back on my channel. It was really good, and I told a little story of how I thought I had it at 4.75, but I put it down as 5, so I was like, if my brain thought that, that's what it should be. And I'll try and put pictures of the books up here. But I really, really liked that one. I liked how she was introduced to the Fae world, and you see all these different characters. There's Tamlin and Lucian. I really, really enjoyed that. I liked how, and I liked her sister, even though like you're kind of not supposed to like her because she's kind of awful in the beginning. But I really liked her, and I understood like where she was coming from in certain places. And I liked how it was kind of a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite like Disney movies I watched a lot as a kid. So I liked how it was a little bit of a retelling, but like in a Fae world. And I liked how she was like strong even though she couldn't read. But I really, really, really liked her. Okay, moving on to A Darker Side of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Now this one I talked about, I think 3 videos ago, right around Christmas is when I talked about it. This one, it's like there's different Londons, and there's Kel, and there's Lila, because her name's Delilah. I really, really liked it. I liked the way the magic was expressed. I liked how certain people couldn't use it. I liked the relationship between Reyes and Kel. I thought it was really, really nice. I liked the relationship that Lila and Kel formed. I liked going through different Londons. I've never read a book like that, and I really, really enjoyed that. It is, well, since it is 5 stars, it is one of my favorites. I really liked it. Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This was, I think, around Thanksgiving is when I talked about this one. It's a dark romance, so search up trigger warnings. It is a stalker romance with, I'm forgetting the names, but it's a trauma nurse and this guy who like works with computers and stuff, and he posts thirst traps and stuff, and she becomes a fan and like comments, and he becomes obsessed with her and he stalks her. I really liked it. It was like surprisingly funny. Like it shouldn't have been that funny for a stalker romance, but it was surprisingly funny, and it was one of my first forays into dark romance, and I really liked it. It was really, really good. One of my favorite books. Then there was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I know, late on the train again with this one. This one is also around Thanksgiving-ish, I think. I don't really read like contemporary books like that. As you can tell from my books, it's darker or fantasy normally. I don't really like contemporary, but I tried it. I try it every couple weeks to see how I feel about it, and I really, really liked it. I liked how she's trying to solve, like, it's basically like her senior project. She's trying to solve a murder, and you meet Ravi. I really like Ravi. He was so sweet, even though everyone kind of hates him because of who his brother is, and they think that his brother committed this crime that caused, like, someone who was so popular in the town to disappear, and like they think she's dead. I really enjoyed like the piecing together. Like you think it was someone, but like now there's evidence that it can't be that someone. but then it also could be that someone. It was really, really good. I liked being on the edge of my seat, because this one I actually didn't call who the bad person was, like the killer was. I didn't call it. I called the fake out, but I didn't call the real one, which is so surprising, because normally I'm really good at figuring things out. So I really, really liked it. One of my favorites. Well, obviously, it's one of my favorites. I keep saying that. I don't know if I should fix it or not, but it is. Okay, now moving on to Spider-Man, The Darkest Hours by Kim Busher, Keith R.A. DeCendio, and Christopher L. Bennett. Now, this is 3 books inside one, and they're all 5 stars for me, so I just put it as one. There is Darkest Hours, where Spider-Man has to team up with Black Cat to help defeat these ancient evils who are trying to kill him for, like, revenge or something. And then there's Down These Mean Streets, where he has to work with the police force who actively hates him to try and stop the production and selling of this new drug that causes people to get superpowers. Then I think it's Drowned in Thunder is the last one, where his vendetta against JJJ keeps coming back at him, and he's not sure what to do. Like, is JJJ the actual bad guy this time? And there's so many POVs, like you get Mary Jane, you get Spider-Man, you get JJJ, you even get the villain in some of them, you get someone's mom of one of the victims, you get so many different POVs, which is really nice. You get like a full story about it. And like theoretically, they tell you where these stories could fit into the comics, which I really like. So then theoretically, they could be actually accurate. And I really liked this. These were the first 2 videos on my channel where I talked about them non-spoilery and then spoilery in the second one. And I really, really liked it. And also, I'm a little biased because it probably wouldn't be 5 stars to someone that's not me, but because Spider-Man is such like a big like person for me. Like, I grew up watching all the cartoons. He's one of my favorite like superheroes. I love him so much. So it's 5 stars for me, but it probably wouldn't be for anyone else, just because me and Spider-Man, it's like a different thing. Okay, now we're moving on to books I haven't talked about really on this channel. Non-spoilery first, then spoilery after. I'll give a little warning in between. Six of Crows, one of my absolutely like top favorite. Where like these 6 people have to come together. There's Waylon, Jasper, Kaz, Injun. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but like Nina and Matthias, and they have to rob something like at the ice court, and it's like an impossible mission, and it's so good. I really loved it. I read it like so many times. It's one of the only books that I will like reread and reread. It's like my comfort book. I really love that one. I haven't read the second one because I know something that happens in it, so I don't want it to end, which is also why I haven't read it. But I'll read it eventually. I know I will, but I don't want it to end. Then we have Vicious by V.E. Schwab, one of my favorite authors. As you can see, both books that I've read by this person are here. And Vicious is about these 2 college students, Eli and Victor, who do something that gives them superpowers. And then it goes back and forth. Like, you get like them in college, and then you get them like after college. And like you get like different perspectives from them. You get a couple other POVs, like there's Lena, I think, there's this other girl, there's another guy that Victor's with. There's a couple other people too, and I really enjoyed it. It was such a like a different way to like explore superpowers, and I haven't like seen that type of thing before. I'm planning on reading the second one really soon. I forget what it's called, but I am really excited to read it. And lastly, this one also is either 1 star for people or 5 stars for people, and it's 5 stars for me because I read it at like a time I really needed to read this. It's called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It was technically actually one of my summer reading books I had to read for high school, and normally summer reading books aren't good like for high school. But I read it, and I was immediately... This is another book that I've reread. It's about this girl who tries to end her life, but then gets the chance to experience her life through different choices that she could have made. Like, she could have made a choice to marry that one guy or keep on swimming or something. And it's amazing. I read it when I was in a darker place, and it was so good. It made me cry. It was one of my favorite books I've ever read. Okay, now let's get into the spoilery of the last three. Six of Crows, my absolute favorite. I love Cass. He's my favorite person ever. I love how he's so strong and he plans for everything, but he has like a weakness. Like, he's scared of intimacy because of what happened with his brother. And like, he wants to be with Injun and she wants to be with him, but like, they know it won't work. Not because they don't want it to work. They both want it to work, but Kaz can't get over his intimacy issues, and it's like, but I really want you to because you and Injun work so great together. Like, he's like, touch her and I kill you. And he does. And there's Jasper and Wayland, and they fit like so good. Like, Jasper the gambler who is always on the money but also the best shot ever. And then there's Wayland, who's like the disgraced son of Van Eck, and he can't read even though he's like so schooled at everything else. And no one knows that, even though his father sends him letters saying, if you read this, please come back. Like, he's sending it as a taunt. It's so funny. And the ending where like they kidnap Injun and she's like, Kaz is so upset. And like, he even goes undercover, like dressed as like Ian, I think is his name, the guy who was making this special drug that makes all the like powered people extra powerful, which is kind of awful because it like infects them. It's like a drug, really. And like, he goes undercover to see him, and his dad's like, oh, I hate him, he sucks, you can kill him. I'm like, you should not do that to your child. Even Kaz is like that. Kaz is like, you don't do that to someone's child. And Nina and Matthias, these are like my least favorite, but like least favorite by like not much at all. Like, they're still great. Nina, who was like a soldier in a war who got kidnapped basically by Matthias, and they're like the only two survivors on the shipwreck, and they like form a relationship even though it's like forbidden for Matthias, and he has to like rationalize it to himself. Like, he's like, I hate her but I love her, and she doesn't know what she's doing either because she was supposed to kill this guy. So it's like, oh, it's so good. It's still amazing. I think about it all the time. Okay, Vicious now. It's about Victor and Eli, and they find out the way to get superpowers is basically to have like a very near-death experience. And they both do it. Eli with Victor's help, but once he does it, he's like kind of withdrawn. He's like, you shouldn't do it, it's not worth it. But Victor doesn't hear him, so he does it and ends up killing Eli's girlfriend. And it basically reads like a love story between Victor and Eli, even though they were not love interests, but it like reads that way. And I really like enjoyed that, because like, they're like, I hate each other, but he's still like such like a close part of me. I really, really liked that. And Victor does it, and he gets like the ability to control electrical fields, which is really nice. And then Eli's going off killing all these superpowered people because he thinks they're unnatural. I'm like, dude, you have superpowers, like that you can't die. Like, come on. And he meets Selena, I think her name is, who's basically a siren. And she basically tried to kill her little sister, who also can't die. Which I thought was like amazing. And like, this little girl comes and helps Victor and even brings him back to life at the end. I really, really, really liked that. So I'm excited for the next book eventually when I do read it. But I really, really liked it. And you got like different perspectives of like why he thinks they're evil, and like, he keeps like showing him working with the police department with Selena's help, and he's like, I want to kill Selena, but she won't let me, because she's like controlling him, being like, you won't kill me today. Like, she says, you won't kill me today, meaning she should say it every day. And eventually she does die, and they don't let the little girl see her sister because she still like somewhat cares for her. And I really like, I liked how complicated the whole book was. I've never read a book like where you technically don't have a side you root for. Obviously I'm on Victor's side, but like, Eli also kind of had a point, you know? Like, it's so interesting. Okay, the Midnight Library. As I've said, she tries to end her life, and she gets to live different like opportunities that she had. Like, what if she married that one guy who proposed to her? It turns out she wasn't happy in that life, even if it did happen. Or what if she kept swimming? Turns out she wasn't happy in that life either. Or what if she married that doctor guy that she ran into and had kids? Or what if she continued this rock band she had with her brother? Turns out her brother dies in that one. And then she realizes at the end, life is what you make it. Like, you don't have to make these specific choices. You can even make littler choices. But it doesn't matter because you're alive. And, like, she realizes that, and she pushes through, like, and she comes back, like, into her actual life. And she decides, well, I'm gonna do what I make it. And I'm gonna live the life how I want. And it doesn't, like, help to just wallow, like, effectively. Not really like that, because that would be kind of hypocritical. But, like, she realizes that, like, she can't not do anything, because if she doesn't do anything, nothing will happen. But if she pushes out just a little bit, better things could happen. And it made me cry, because I was like, I was in a dark place when I read it, and I was like, this book is amazing. A lot of people hate it or love it. I absolutely loved it, and it's still one of my favorite books. Okay, so those are all 8 of my 5-star reads. I know I kind of talked a little fast because these are just books that I love so much, so I will always talk faster with them. So I'm sorry if it was a little fast. Alright, so if you liked this, please like and subscribe if you did. And if you have any ideas for other books you want me to review or talk about, or any ideas for something I should do, please comment down below. And bye everyone.